Thanks for coming. I hope everyone had a good August. I hope you missed us very badly, but we're back. Okay, I'm proud to be joined by Senator Stabenow, Warren, and Smith. Now, we had a great caucus meeting today. Democrats are excited. We feel we have strength, we have momentum. My caucus did incredible work back in their home states, promoting a slew of major bills that we passed. When you pass good legislation, you get good results. It's been a long time since the American people felt that Washington is capable of doing big things to meet big challenges and to meet their needs. It's why we took on Big Pharma and won. It's why we took on entrenched oil interests and won. And why we're on track to cut carbon emissions by 40% by 2030. It's why we took on the NRA and beat them by passing the first gun safety law in decades. Across the country, our members have been talking about the benefits of the CHIPS and Science Act and, of course, the Inflation Reduction Act, which became law last month. Americans are already seeing the benefits from these accomplishments. The new laws are creating new investments, new jobs, new opportunities for American families and their communities. It's allowed America to pivot into the industries of tomorrow and lead the world, as opposed to lagging, which so many Americans were worried that we would do. So already a whole host of companies have announced major investments that will help grow our country into the future, jobs right here in America, not jobs overseas, jobs in industries that have great futures that are not looking backward at the past. For instance, Toyota just announced billions in new investments to start manufacturing batteries for electric and hybrid cars in North Carolina. First Solar announced a $1 billion investment to build a new solar panel manufacturing facility. And the examples go on. Honda and LG Energy also announced over $4 billion in EV battery production. Panasonic, which supplies parts of Tesla's EV, said they're also considering $4 billion to build another plant. And thanks to the tax incentives we passed recently, Samsung decided to accelerate plans to break their own EV battery plant in the U.S. in the next few months. It's clear that the bills passed by the Democratic-led Senate will help drive America forward, lead growth in areas all around the country that have suffered from lack of new investments, and point the way to America leading in the future, in future-oriented industries. So we want to continue to be just as productive during this work period. Democrats are going to keep pushing on the priorities for the American people. As you know, we must fund the government before September 30th, and there are many more things we'd like to get done as well. We will work as hard as we can to accomplish as much as we can in this work period. And we are going to continue filling seats on the federal bench and confirm as many judges as we can. To date, Democrats have confirmed 76 federal judges, far more than the number confirmed at this point in the Trump presidency. Confirming judges has been and will continue to be a top priority for the Senate in the days and weeks to come. With that, let me call on Senator Stabenow.
Well, yes. Well, thank you very much. Welcome back, everyone. We are in a bright, newly painted hallway talking about a brighter future. And Senator Schumer said we are very optimistic and very excited about the things we've been doing and that we can continue to do together. But I just want to take us back because it's been a historic 20 months. When President Biden took office and the new Democratic majorities came in, we weren't all standing here together. I mean, we were home Zooming. Our kids were not in school. Our businesses were just barely hanging on. And so we went to work immediately, put our heads down to make sure that we saved lives, got children back in school, saved our restaurants, small businesses, helped people get their lives back. That was step one. Now, step two is that we as Democrats are laser focused on rebuilding America and bringing jobs home. And the great news is we have the fastest job growth in history the fastest job growth in history. Since President Biden took office, 10 million new jobs have been created. I'm particularly excited for Michigan to have 660,000 of those be manufacturing, with more to come. We're rebuilding our roads and our bridges and broadband, investing in clean energy manufacturing that frankly is going to bring millions of jobs home. The investments will put our country on track, as Senator Schumer said, to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 40% in 8 years. 8 years. And we know we have more to do. Our investments are also lowering costs for Americans. The average American household will save up to $1,000 on their energy bills each year from what we have done. The cost of prescription drugs going down. For the first time, Medicare will negotiate prescription drug prices. Folks on Medicare will see insulin costs capped at $35 a month. And I've been all over Michigan in the last few weeks. This is a really big deal for people, a really big deal. Lower out-of-pocket prescription costs, free vaccines, and we're reducing the deficit by $300 billion just by doing something really simple, saying that the most powerful and the wealthy should pay by the same rules as working people and pay their fair share. And this is after we passed the first gun safety measures in decades with the largest investment in mental health services ever in the history of our country, which I don't think we focus enough on. Also a very big deal. Simply put, we have, as Democrats, have stood up to big pharma, big oil, the gun lobby, corporations that don't pay taxes, and we have won on behalf of the American people. And we are going to continue to put people first.
Senator Warren.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. Democrats are on the move. 2 weeks ago, the President of the United States canceled student loan debt for tens of millions of Americans. 20 million Americans woke up on Thursday of that week without student loan debt for the first time in their adult lives. Another 23 million Americans saw their debt loads significantly reduced. I want to say a very special thank you to my partner in this, Senator Schumer, who has been a leader who has fought this fight, and also Senator Warnock, who has been absolutely relentless, as all three of us have spoken with the White House, have spoken publicly, have pushed to get this across the finish line. It matters so much to so many working people across this country. 40% of those getting help do not have a college diploma. The unions were behind it. This was ultimately the Democrats doing what Democrats do best, helping working people. The week before that, the work that I've done for a long time with the administration meant that the FDA finally put out the rules so that the cost of hearing aids will go down. By mid-October, hearing aids are going to be available over the counter. For the 20 million people with hearing loss, only about 1 out of 5 who can afford to get hearing aids. This will be life-changing. And the week before that, we got the Inflation Reduction Act through, a commitment to a 40% reduction in carbon emissions in less than 8 years, paid for by our 15% minimum tax on billionaire corporations. Before that, it was chips, it was science, it was guns. This is about Democrats who are on the move. But we still have work to do. It is absolutely critical that we have a judiciary that actually follows the law. And what we will be doing this month and on through the rest of this year is getting as many judicial nominees through as we can. We think it is critically important that we have those judges who will read the law and fairly interpret it. So it's exciting to be here with all of you.
Thank you, Senator Warren. Senator Smith.
Thank you. Thank you to my colleagues, and hello to all of you. It's great to see you again. It feels sort of like the second day back at school. I want to just bring your attention briefly to some of the accomplishments of the Inflation Reduction Act for Americans. This is going to be putting us in a position to lead on innovation and development for clean energy and the clean energy transition, saving money for consumers and delivering on our commitments to take bold action on the climate emergency. And we are already seeing firms race to develop projects to build out clean energy and green technology. A lithium processing factory facility in Tennessee, which will help to break our dependence on these critical supply chains with unfriendly and sometimes hostile countries. Another example, as Senator Schumer said, First Solar, which has announced that it will be investing $1.2 billion to build out a new solar manufacturing facility in the United States. Now, analysts are telling us that this will result in hundreds of billions of dollars in private investment that will create hundreds of thousands of new jobs. And this money has been waiting on the sidelines for this law to get passed, and now that we have gotten it done, it's going to swing into action too. I want to just note that when I was home in Minnesota in August, I heard firsthand from people who appreciate the benefit of this and are excited to hear about what this might mean for their community. Here's just one last example. In Becker, Minnesota, the Sherco coal-fired plant. This is a plant that is now going to be retiring from coal. It is going to be powered by solar energy with batteries there in order to ease the transition. And most importantly, this is going to benefit the good union jobs in that community that have been working to make sure that the lights go on for Minnesotans for decades are now going to have an opportunity to participate in this clean energy future. That's the kind of results that Democrats are delivering, and I can't wait to get back to work to do even more. Thank you.
As you can see, we are really excited about what we've done and how it's going to help the American people. Yes.
Senator Schumer, do you have an update, or will you hold an up and down vote on same-sex marriage, and do you have 60 votes yet?
Okay, so first let's remember why a vote on the respect for marriage is necessary. Millions upon millions of American women had their right taken away by the extremist MAGA Supreme Court in the Dobbs decision. And in a concurring opinion, Justice Thomas opened the door to the Supreme Court going even further. The MAGA Republicans are taking over the Republican Party, and they've made it abundantly clear they're not satisfied with repealing Roe. So when some Republicans say, oh, a vote's unnecessary, it won't happen, they said the same thing about Roe. And here's where we are. So we had a very good conversation today in our caucus about marriage equality. We all want to pass this quickly. Only our two leading members on this issue, Senators Baldwin and Sinema, are working with Republicans to see if there are enough votes to pass the bill. But let me be clear, a vote will happen. A vote on marriage equality will happen on the Senate floor in the coming weeks, and I hope there will be 10 Republicans to support it. Yes?
Is marriage equality going to be looped in with the larger CR that you guys are talking
We
about?
would prefer to do it as a separate bill. We hope there are 10 Republicans to help us with that. Yes, yes.
How long on the CR are you willing to go into the new year? Would you prefer a longer spending bill because you guys, didn't get your spending priorities implemented till March? Does that help you?
Look, we want to get it. We prefer to get an omnibus bill done before the end of the year. We think there are a good number of Republicans who agree with that, and so we're hoping about mid-December. The CR will go till about mid-December, and then we might do an omnibus.
Senator Schumer, have you in fact promised Joe Manchin includes the permitting reform in the CR?
Permitting reform is part of the IRA, and we will get it done. Yes.
Are you concerned that Republicans are opposed to COVID aid, monkeypox aid, and increased Ukraine funding for the CR?
Yeah, look, we're opposed. Let me say a couple of things here. Ukraine needs more help. We want to give it to them. And on monkeypox and on COVID relief, we need to be prepared. We've always been prepared as a country. And it's disgraceful that Republicans are playing political games with this when the health of the nation is at stake. Yes.
Schumer, President Putin was speaking in Vladivostok today, where he said Russia has been able to reach all of its strategic goals and hasn't lost anything. Do you agree with him?
Who believes Putin these days? Yes.
On the election reform bills that the working group released, do you plan to hold a vote on those, and will they be in the lame duck session?
It's something we'd like to get done, and we're going to try to figure out the best way to get it done. Yes.
Have you requested a database briefing on the Mar-a-Lago documents, and if so, when do you expect to get that?
Look, I have a great deal of faith in Merrick Garland and how he's pursuing it, And in terms of the specifics, our intelligence committee is working very closely with them to see, that our secrets, what has happened to our secrets, and to see what should be done about that. Last one.
With regard to permitting reform, the deal that you struck in the press release you sent out with Senator Manchin, it said that you would have that resolved in this fiscal year. Yes. Senator Manchin said that is the CR. That can only be the CR.
Our intention is to add it to the CR, absolutely. Okay?
No
Thank you, everybody.
No worry about a shutdown.